Okay, so let's see how this B58 performs. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going over the all-new 2022 BMW X5. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the BMW of Pleasant Grove, Utah for giving me some time with this X5. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below. Something that's awesome about the BMW of Pleasant Grove, Utah is they do not charge over MSRP for any of the new cars, so definitely check them out. On a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So under the hood we have a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It also does have a hybrid boost. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 335 horsepower at 5,500 RPMs and then 332 pound-feet of torque at only 1,500 RPMs. Let's go over the front end. First off, this is finished in a new color called Manhattan Green Metallic, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. You guys know I'm a huge fan of green, but this isn't like a crazy in-your-face bright green. It's definitely more of like a grayish green, and so it still has like that luxury car appearance to it. You guys can see here prominent lines here on the hood. Got the BMW logo front and center. And then notice here with the BMW LED laser headlights and the daytime running lights, looks absolutely fantastic. And even says BMW laser there on the side. We've got the blacked out kidney front grille, and then notice here how it's all blacked out at the bottom as well. And then you can see off to the side, on top of that, parking sensors integrated into the front end. We also have a front camera, and yeah, again, in this green, it looks so good. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 22-inch wheels in the front, and then 315mm tires wrapped around 22-inch wheels in the back. And let me tell you, these wheels just look fantastic from a proportion perspective, but then also with the coloration. Notice how we have the M logo there, and then we have the M colored brake calipers. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension. Notice here how the fender flare is body painted, and then you've got the blacked out accent piece here on the side. And then notice with the two-tone design on the mirrors, blacked out trim around the windows, and then also for the roof rails. And if we take a few steps back, you guys can see the full side profile here. With the fender flares and the body lines, it has this really nice muscular appearance. Now here is the key fob for the X5. As you guys can see, we've got our unlock function. The BMW logo is the lock function in the opening here for the hatch. And this thing that I love about BMWs is they have this tailgate seating with their hatches. So you just press this button here, then we can pull this down. And so this actually helps out with loading stuff in and out of the X5, but then also, again, you can sit on this, which just adds to the practicality. Now in terms of the storage space back here, really solid. This is kind of like a, I wouldn't say it's like a big SUV, but it's a larger sized SUV. And then you guys can see here with the cargo cover in the back. And yeah, overall, tons of practicality built into the rear. I love how you have like the X right here on either side. We also have a 12 volt there as well, which is pretty cool. But when you're all done, all you gotta do is just pick this up, locks nicely into place, and then we can just press this button right here, and it all closes together. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear, you guys can see here with the tail lights, LEDs, they look fantastic. And then we've got all of our regular badging here on the back to let you know what model and package it is. Parking sensors here on the rear, we've got a receiver hitch down below. And then notice here with the exhaust tips on either side, I love the covers over them, they look really good. And yeah, other than that, again, this green is so cool. Now here's the door panel in the rear. You guys can see here with the sunshades, and then notice with the leather trim all over. Definitely looks fantastic. And look at this wood trim as well. And then here are these seats. So again, look at the design on the seats. That is just beautiful. And then notice M logo popping in. And I'm in my full dad attire today, as you guys can see. Anyways, got that. Look at the USBs. And then you guys can see here with the vents, and then we have our climate controls for the rear passengers. And we have our over-engineered cup holder armrest situation. I think that, yeah, there you go. It's cool though. It's definitely a cool setup. And let's head to the front. Here is the front door panel. You guys can see here with the leather trim at the top and then down below. And then notice here with all of the window controls, we have 2 different settings for the memory seats. Blind spot monitoring for the mirrors, and then again, look at that wood trim, and then the speaker down below it. And then we've got our M logo right there, and then these front seats have such a cool design. And then notice here, with all the adjustability on the seats, so much. Love the look of the pedals. Then we've got our light controls here, and then you guys can see again with all of the trim. Steering wheel's power adjustable. Let's pop in. So here's the steering wheel, really nice leather trim all around. You got our M logo, heated steering wheel control, and I love how there's stitching around the airbag cover. Paddle shifters for that 8-speed automatic. We do have our cruise control with the steering assistance, and then we have all of our practical controls for basically the radio setup pretty much, and phone stuff. Turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock, all the normal BMW steering wheel gadgets. Now here is the gauge cluster. Sorry about the glare there on this side, that's pretty horrible. But anyways, that's just the speed, and then you got the RPMs there on the other side. And then notice how we have the map here in the center. And yeah, I'm a big fan of BMW's digital gauge cluster. I think it looks great. Now notice that when we change the drive modes, it'll change how the gauge cluster looks with the different modes, which is, I don't know, pretty cool if you ask me. We also have hill descent control that you can use as well. But yeah, there's a gauge cluster. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, if I pop it in reverse, well, we got the camera system. Notice when I turn the lines, look at this. It actually changes the angle of the camera. That is some cool tech. But this basically has a 360 camera system, and so, you know, again, it's not a huge SUV, but definitely adds to the practicality. And aside from that, as for the rest of the infotainment system, we have this shortcut bar here on the side. We have the main screen, which notice response time with that is fantastic, as you guys can see. I can also control it via a dial if I want. For some reason, I don't want to use the touchscreen functionality. But again, touchscreen's really responsive, dial's really responsive, so both of them work great. And there's a lot of customization. So with this infotainment system, I recommend just dive into it for, you know, 10-20 minutes, and then you'll kind of figure everything out that you can go through. Also, for the climate controls, there's a menu button that I can press, and then that'll pull that right up here on the infotainment system, and there you go. This is our shortcut button for the safety tech, and again, that's that climate menu. The bottom, if you push the button down, that's actually for the AC. We've got dual zone climate here up front. We have heated seats for the front passengers, and we have the radio presets where, again, you hover your finger over and it'll go with the screen, and then you guys can see here with the radio control. And we got this little wood panel right here, which press that back and then it'll expose the cup holders. Cup holders, you've been exposed. But yeah, tons of storage space inside here, and then look at the little USB right there, and then you just pull it back into place when you're done. It's not like a push thing. It's kind of interesting how you push it back. It's definitely different. But anyways, really nice wood trim. Again, this one has the crystal shifter. And notice here on the dial, a bunch of shortcut buttons for the infotainment system with that, by the way. Stability controls for the camera system, parking sensors, and then even the stop-start button. And then notice all of our drive mode select, and then again, that's your hill descent control, HDC parking brake. And then notice here with the stitching. And then center console, really solid storage space, USBs. Nice leather trim here on top of the center console as well. And then look at the wood trim on the dash, and then the leather and stitching here on the top of the dash. And then pretty normal glove box, nothing crazy happening there. And then full panoramic sunroof here at the top. You got the control for the sunroof, and well, there you go. So here's our window sticker for this 2022 BMW X5. As you guys can see, again, we've got that Manhattan green metallic, which again, I think is such a cool color. But anyways, here is all of the equipment on this particular one. And before we go to the total price, I want to show you guys quickly some of the standard equipment and the warranty information on this. So we have a 4-year, 50,000 mile warranty, which is standard across the luxury car industry. And then there's your maintenance. But anyways, there's your total MSRP, $81,345. Let's see how it drives. Talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Both mirrors with dual blind spot monitoring. And throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So before we set off, I want to show you guys these other colors. So those, oh, that's an X5M. That looks so cool. That color That is just awesome. Wow. Anyways, yeah, the colors on these X5s are really cool. So first off, you know, from a ride quality perspective, the X5 is really smooth. And funny enough, I think this is the first time I've ever driven a regular X5. It's kind of one of those things where, like, sometimes, you know, being a car reviewer, you end up reviewing the higher end packages before you end up reviewing the, I wouldn't call this a low down package, but like it's lower than like an X5M, for example. And so it's always an interesting experience going from one to the other. But what I can tell you is this is very comfortable. Seat comfort's great. And it's just easy to drive. Suspension's really good too. That's something that I've noticed with the newer BMW models, is that they've just done a really good job. It's not just the suspension, it's also the platform. It's just making it so that it smooths everything out. It almost feels like the unibody platform that they're using for their cars and their SUVs is just really rigid, which you'd think might make it so that this doesn't ride very well, but it's actually the opposite. It makes it so that it's smoother. Yeah, it's really good, actually. Yeah, it's so comfortable. And then on top of that, it's just easy to drive. Like, you've got so much torque. And actually, let's pop it into the Eco Pro and see how that feels. Yeah, you've got so much torque, and we'll see going over the bump. Yeah, just beautiful. German engineering for you, let me tell you. Had the seat way too far forward. You guys probably couldn't see much. Here, we'll kind of adjust that down a little bit. But yeah, really solid. I'm very impressed. Okay, so let's see how this B58 performs. Sounds so good. I love the sound of inline sixes. It's such just a solid sound. And even going a little bit higher speed over that in sport mode, still really comfortable. And if we pop it into comfort mode, it just floats like a cloud. Yeah, I really like the structural rigidity of this, because it handles great, but again, it doesn't feel, frankly, I don't know what other way to describe this. It doesn't feel like crap going over bumps, because like when you drive as many cars as I've driven, you can kind of tell the difference between different manufacturers. And what I've noticed with BMW is, again, that structural rigidity, and so it just lends to like this really like sporty feeling driving experience, but then also like it's just, everything's nice and tidy. Like when I go over big bumps like that in you know, other manufacturers that aren't, you know, non-luxury manufacturers, basically, you know, you hear like shaking with the panels sometimes, which isn't really a good experience. But on top of that, it just doesn't have the same like smooth feel over the bumps. It's like, it kind of like jitters your teeth a little bit, whereas this doesn't. And yeah, I think they've done a great job with the overall setup. Is this guy, where's this guy going? Okay, I just want to make sure that we don't run over someone trying to go over a crosswalk. But anyways, summing things up with the X5, I think it looks great, especially in this new color. This is such a beautiful looking car. Interior is really nice. This is something that has shocked me reviewing a lot of these new BMWs over the last couple months, is just how nice the new interiors are. It was something that, you know, I didn't expect from BMW. I know it's a luxury manufacturer, but it was kind of like you paid the BMW price to get this luxury sports car, but more like on the sports side of things. Whereas now it's like you get a sporty car, but then it's also very luxurious. Like this, like look at, again, the graining on the wood trim and everything. This is very high quality. So yeah, if you want the best of both, you want the luxury side and the sports side, BMW provides that, and their new platforms are so solid. Like, I am just astonished at how great this feels. Now let's get some things up for a video on this BMW X5. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the BMW here of Pleasant Grove, Utah for giving me some time with the X5. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.